Hi class, this is Course 2, Lesson 22, Problems about a Fraction of a Group. We have already talked about different types of problems, problems about combining, problems about separating, comparing, elapsed time, equal groups, and now we're going to talk about a fraction of a group or a part of a group. And the strategy that we are going to use is we are going to draw a diagram to solve. Okay, there are other ways to solve these problems, but we're going to focus on drawing a diagram to solve. Here is an example. Please write this in your notes. 2/3 of the 27 students wore sneakers on Monday. How many students wore sneakers? Okay, so we're going to walk through this problem together. We need to know this information here, 2/3, and how many there are. We're going to start with what fraction we know, or what part we know, and how many there are total. So we know there are 2/3. So 2/3 looks like this, 2 out of 3, 2/3. So we're going to draw a box that has 3 groups in it, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to make a note over here that says 2/3. 2 of the groups are sneakers. Okay? And however you want to label that, that's fine. But you should write a note to yourself that you've already done this work so you don't have to go back up to the problem and try to remember it. Everything's in the diagram. I know that 2 of these boxes are sneakers and the other one would be no sneakers, right? I also know there are 27 students, and I'm going to put the total number at the top because this entire box needs to represent 27 students. Okay, so how am I going to put 27 students into this diagram so that they split evenly? So we're going to divide 27 by the number of equal groups there are. So there are 3 groups. So 27 divided by 3 is going to be 9. So, and you might want to think about this as the denominator, because remember, the denominator tells me how many equal groups I have. So we're going to take the total number and divide it by 3, and that's going to equal 9. So there are 9 students in each of these groups, and when I'm done I should be able to look at this and say 9 plus 9 is 18 plus another 9 is 27. This should equal your total number of students. Okay, so this is your diagram. You've done the work. This is the diagram. Answer the question. How many students wore sneakers? Okay, how many wore sneakers? Well, 2 of the 3 groups did. So how many is that? 9 times 2, right? Or 9 plus 9. Either way, it equals 18 students. That answers your question. 18 students wore sneakers. Okay? Another example. This time, they give us 60% of the 20 tomatoes were green. Okay, a couple different ways you can do this. Percent means per 100, right? So it would be 60 out of 100. So that's your fraction. Now, you could draw 100 boxes, although I wouldn't recommend it. So start by reducing your fraction. So 60 out of 100. I can divide both of those by 10, getting 6/10, and then I can draw 10 boxes, or if you notice, there's still a factor in common. 6 has 2 as a factor, and so does 10. So this would reduce to 3/5. So now I know I need to draw 5 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 boxes. And I'm going to make a note over here that 3 out of the 5, and then I'm going to go back up here now. 60% of the 20 tomatoes were green. So these were green. So I'm going to put green right here. Okay, now, how many tomatoes did we have total? We had 20, so I'm going to put 20 up at the top. And then over on the side, I'm going to figure out how many tomatoes go in each of these groups so that we have equal number in each. So it's 20 divided by, how many groups do I need to fit it into? 5 equals 4. So 4 tomatoes go in each of these groups. 4 times 5 is 20, so I know I have 20 tomatoes in here. Okay, I have my diagram done. I'm going to answer the questions. Question 1, what fraction of the tomatoes were not green? Okay, this is where you have to read very carefully. Notice they gave us a percent to start, and they told us how many were green, and now we need a fraction that were not green. So let's look at our diagram and see if we can figure that out. So where do we have green tomatoes? They're up here. 3/5 are green. So which ones are not green? So it'd be this box and this box. And we know that that is 2 groups out of a total of 5 groups. 2/5 of the tomatoes were not green. Okay. Then it says how many tomatoes were green. Okay, and I took this problem right out of the book, so this is exactly the type of problem you're going to get. How many tomatoes were green? Okay, so I don't want the not green ones. I want the are green ones. So I'm going to go back to my red pen. How many are green? Well, I have 4 in each group. And how many groups do I have? I have 3 groups. So how many tomatoes do I have? 12 tomatoes. So I'm going to put that up there. 12 tomatoes are green. Be careful. When it says how many tomatoes were green, do not tell me 3/5. If it's a fraction answer, it will say what fraction. If they want to know how many, they will say how many. That should be a number, something you would count, something you would tell people that you have. Okay, here's one for you to try. Go ahead and pause the video now, work it out, and when you're ready, let's see if you did what I do. Okay, so pause the video, work it out, and then resume when you're ready. Okay, so 3/4 of the 60 marbles in the bag were red, so I have 3/4. So I'm going to draw 4 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know that 3 of the 4 were red, so I'm going to make red, and I'm going to put 3 out of 4. I know there are 60 marbles, so that goes up here. I also know that I need to divide that 60 by the denominator into 4 groups. So 60 divided by 4, well, maybe I should do that like this. So I get 15. So I put 15 into each of those spots. 15, 15, 15, 15. Okay, my diagram is done. I'm going to start answering the questions. How many marbles were red? Okay, well, I already have this marked. Red is 3 out of the 4 groups. So 15 times 3 is going to be how many red I have. So I have 45 red marbles. So that would be 45. How many were not red? Oh, that's a good question. 2 different ways you can do that. One, I can take how many I had, 60 to start with, and subtract how many I know are red and get 15. Or I can look at the diagram and say, well, if these are red, then whatever is left has to not be red. So there would be 15. Okay? Hopefully you did a nice job with this one that you had to do on your own. If you have questions, please make sure that I know. We will do this type of problem a lot in the next couple weeks. So it'll be important that you understand how to do this effectively. So bring your questions to class or put them on the website. Otherwise, I'll see you in class.